usually don't do this, but it is beautiful outside right now. So I'm gonna set a timer for 20 minutes and I'm just gonna talk a little bit about the inspo for this diary entry. And maybe it'll be shorter than that, but we'll just see. Okay, so 3, 2, 1, go. Hold on, maybe that's better. Because the rain is so loud, I wanna make sure that you're able to hear me. This video was inspired by just that feeling of fall, and I guess not fall, maybe it's more autumn. I feel like I'm seeing every season for the very first time. Like, it actually feels like autumn outside. In the mornings, it's really brisk and chilly. Sometimes there's this really cool breeze that sort of wafts by, and it's so beautiful. The smell of the air is so crisp. And the same thing happens in the evenings now. During the middle of the day, usually it's super sunny, and I don't go outside because the UV index is really high. So even though it feels amazing outside, it doesn't feel amazing outside because unlike the low desert, I always thought of the low desert heat as being inside of an air fryer where you're getting heat from all around you, every single direction, especially because there is a lot of a lot of cement or concrete everywhere, which is horrible, especially when we live in a desert, because honestly, the heat just radiates from the ground, and for me, it always felt so suffocating, like I couldn't get a break. And here, it's very different because I don't feel any heat coming from the ground. It's actually very cool, and I don't really feel heat coming from the sides. Where I feel the heat coming from is from above. So to me, it almost feels like I'm under a broiler that's set to high during the hottest parts of the day. Ooh, the rain is starting to slow down. No, come back. I'm pretty sure that it is going to rain a lot more, especially as we transition into fall. And you know what I'm so excited for is seeing all of the trees going dormant. But anyways, I am getting so distracted. Let me go back to the whole inspo of the video. So that is what it feels like right now. And this diary entry actually took place during most likely the summer, or I mean, it was really hard, and it still is difficult for me to differentiate memories and when they took place, because the entire time that I gardened in the low desert of Arizona, zone 9B, and by the low desert, I mean like the valley. I mean like lower areas of Arizona where it's super hot all year round. During like what you would usually consider the winter and fall months, or even early spring, all of those are just more so warm in the low desert. But then the rest of the year, a lot of the times it's just excruciatingly hot. So technically you are able to grow year round, but oh, there's a bird. Hold on. But I am so sorry. Okay, so here's the thing. The reason I got so scared is because it's so bright here that, oh, that sounds amazing. I can hear the thunder coming. What was I saying? Hold on, give me one moment. The reason I got so freaked out is because I put some of that like film on all of the window. Well, not on all of the windows, but on most of the windows. And it's the kind that mirrors everything. That way people aren't able to see into the house in the middle of the day, but I can still have the windows open and let some light in, because I don't know, like eventually as I progress in replanting Serendipity, I want to create different views from every single window. But also it heats up a lot in the middle of the day, and I feel like the heat just comes right in. So let me close this up real quick because I feel like I'm letting a million mosquitoes in. Plus, it's slowing down with the rain. Oh no! I didn't even tell you what I was gonna tell you! I guess all of that to say that this video was inspired by fall. But, okay, timer aside, if you'll just allow me a couple more seconds. The main inspo for this diary entry was the fear that I felt and how in the moments of a lot of these memories, I can't really look at the bigger picture. I am so focused on what's happening right now that sometimes I don't even think clearly, but I don't realize it until I'm looking back on those moments and I'm like, wow, looking back, I can laugh at a lot of my reactions, my thought process, but in the moment, it feels like the biggest deal in the world. And a lot of the time, I didn't really cherish the good memories as much as I held on to the bad memories because they were more forgettable. And a lot of the times they happened in shorter bursts versus like a long, lengthy, like super complicated memory about a great day in the garden. So for this day in particular, when I first went out to the garden, I had that hope of my very first harvest coming back into the garden after having to be away for so long because I was destroying a huge portion of my garden. And I literally mean destroying, taking apart planters, getting rid of a lot of plants, killing off a lot of stuff because I needed to get the rodents out of my garden. And 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 I had so many hopes and plans for how this first harvest was going to play out. And it's so crazy to be able to see myself experience so many different emotions in one day whenever I'm out in the garden. For example, early in the morning when I first came out, I felt very hopeful. I felt very euphoric because Serendipity has always been my happy and safe place. And anytime I'm able to go outside and harvest and it's like a nice day, oh my gosh, it feels like I'm on top of the world. It's almost like that reward for all of my hard work. And it started off like that. It started off with me feeling super excited to finally be able to harvest produce from my backyard, something that at this point felt very strange and weird, and I wasn't accustomed to it anymore. And even just filming the video, the footage is sort of all over the place because initially I guess I just felt sort of awkward. Like I felt like I almost forgot how to do this, which sounds weird, I know, but I wasn't used to it. I had been so focused on just getting the garden back to the way it was. And I guess maybe I was also still just finding my voice. So a lot of the time I felt like I had to basically follow this certain process, and almost like some phrases felt sort of scripted because they didn't just come naturally, but I felt like I had to include them in the video. You know what I mean? Versus now, I feel like I do things completely differently. Sometimes I just hop in and you don't know what you're going to open up my diary to, but it's just going to tell you about a certain memory that I've had in the past. And I leave it at that. And I love that because it means that I get to share parts of my life as I feel comfortable or as I become inspired, or whenever I remember a certain memory and all of a sudden I want to share it with you, but I want to make you feel the way that I felt. So I've in the past gotten comments about the type of music that I use and how I'm so dramatic, and how, I mean, at times people even became upset with me whenever I would use more of this spooky, eerie, scary, suspenseful music to set the tone of how I felt and to sort of communicate that to anyone reading this diary. And, or I guess sometimes I don't even know how to say it. Like, should I say reading this diary? So should I say listening to or watching? Because I feel like I incorporate a little bit of all of them, but at the end of the day, I guess I am still writing all of these stories, except not on paper, just in my head. See, now I'm blabbering. This is exactly why I set timers. With that said, I wanted the beginning of the video to start off very zoomed in because, like I said, sometimes I get tunnel vision. And in some cases, it helps me when I'm in serendipity because whenever there's projects that are really huge or feel super overwhelming, I'm able to power through them because I get into ant mode. And when I get into ant mode, I feel like it helps me not back down from a challenge in the garden, regardless of what it is. Whether that means covering up my entire backyard with shade cloth on my own because I just want to prove that I can, I wind up doing that, or just completing tasks that might otherwise feel sort of impossible. I'm able to do them because I get into ant mode and I just think about things in simple steps. Because if I look at the big picture, it's too much, and a lot of the times that almost like paralyzes me with fear of all of the bad stuff that could possibly happen and all of the stuff that is gonna probably prevent me from completing that task. But if I get into ant mode, then I don't think about that. All I think about is I need to go up this ladder, I need to attach this to this, and then I need to come back the ladder. And then I need to repeat that this many times. You know what I mean? I break stuff down so that it allows me to hyper focus on one simple task. And in the end, I wind up completing a very challenging project, even though it takes me a little bit longer, but I'm able to do it on my own following that sort of thinking. On the other hand, though, getting that tunnel vision or going into ant mode can also be very, very detrimental to my confidence in the garden, because I feel like, honestly, if I hyperfixate, for example, on this day, I completely forgot what it was like to finally harvest something from my garden again until I watched back the footage and I thought, oh my gosh, I remember now. I remember how I felt in that moment. Even though I forgot about that harvest. I just remember going out to harvest something in the garden, and then all of a sudden I see the rat, and then the rest of the day all I'm thinking about is how I need to get it out of my space. And I just remember feeling so upset with myself because I had destroyed a huge portion of my garden, which honestly was definitely very frustrating, let me tell you that, because I worked so hard. And I thought so many times about how I could save all of those planters or what I could do. It was just hard. It's really hard. Imagine building something that takes you ages. It takes you sweat, blood, and tears, and you're learning as you're doing. You're creating all these memories, and you just feel so proud and accomplished, and then all of a sudden you barely get to enjoy it before you have to destroy it. You're like forced to destroy it, and you just feel like it still had so much more potential. That's exactly how I felt. So I remember this day being a horrible day. For many years, that's how I felt, that this day was a horrible day because a harvest was ruined by this rat. But looking back now, I'm like, oh my gosh. I mean, it was still scary in the moment. And if it happened again, I feel like it would still be scary. But a lot of it was also because I was so close to it. I was just so hyper fixated on this rodent that everything felt 10 times scarier. And that is all the emotion that I felt in the moment. Honestly, my chest was hurting. I was sweating buckets. When I went back inside, I did not feel well. I felt horrible. And at the same time, I felt angry because I just felt like the day was ruined. This whole memory was ruined. But looking back now, I'm like, you know what? I want you guys to feel how scared I felt. I want you guys to feel that suspense, that wondering what's going to happen next and expecting the worst. And then the way it works in gardening is I can't script what's going to happen outside. I can't script what's going to be captured on camera or not. If there's memories that I am able to capture on camera, that's cool, because I love being able to look back at them now and learn something that I might have forgotten about, or just reminisce on memories that I'm so happy I captured, because I can see the growth in myself, as I can also see the growth in Serendipity. But anyways, what was I talking about again? Oh my gosh, I already forgot. Anywho, I don't know how long this is. I don't know if I'm going to leave it this long or not. But thank you so much for listening if you stayed up until now. I think I just wanted to yap for a little bit. Just because it's such a lovely autumn day outside, and I'm so inspired to create something more spooky and eerie and comforting, and something where you can just cozy up on the couch with a cup of coffee, a warm coffee maybe, or some sort of pumpkin spice beverage. Oh my gosh, let me know what your favorites are. I have not started making a bunch of them currently. I've just been sticking to coffee just because I'm in survival mode with my gremlins. But eventually, once I don't know, like settle down, once my schedule isn't so hectic all the time, maybe I can start making some pumpkin spice, like, I don't know, pumpkin spiced coffee and pumpkin spiced treats, like doing a lot of baking. Currently, I haven't been baking as much just because it is still so hot and my house heats up really fast now whenever I bake. So I try and keep it for the winter months because then I can open up the window and watch a snowfall or just hear the rain outside as I bake, and it helps the house not get so hot. But anyways, now this time I'm really gonna let you go, okay? But I will see you in the next diary entry. Bye.